My guest today made the suggestions to start a group that became popular and influential in the 1960s and 70s. They helped to define musical vision and raise social consciousness in the 1960s and 70s. My guest is an original member of the group Sly and the Family Stone, and he's here today to talk about their TV One Unsung episode, The Story of Sly and the Family Stone. Help me welcome saxophonist Jerry Martini to the show. How you doing, Jerry, and welcome to the show.
I'm doing great. I just had a good night's sleep, and I'm ready to go.
I know that's right, huh? Well, we all need a good night's sleep these days. Well, we're going to be talking about today the TV One Unsung story of Sly and the Family Stone, which I'm really excited about. And I wanted to know, how excited were you when you got the call knowing that they wanted to do a story on your group?
Well, I thought it was great, because we've kind of gone for a while, and in 2003, I put the Family Stone back together to just go out and just keep the songs fresh for all the people that remember our songs and would love to hear them again, and for a whole new generation, actually about two new generations of people that we wanted to expose to the lyrics and the wonderful music that Sly Stone laid down.
Now, can you kind of briefly tell us a little bit about the group and how did the group come together?
Well, the group came together in 1966, kind of a ways back. Sly had been my friend since the 50s, and we talked about putting a band together for many years, and he had made a few attempts before. He had Sly and the Stoners and a couple other versions of the band, but he didn't quite have the right staff, so to speak. He didn't have all the right players. So in 1966, he called me and said, "Let's meet at my house at 700 Urbano Street in San Francisco." And people started coming in. I remember I was there first, and of course Sly's brother Freddie was there in the very beginning. And then at the first rehearsal, Freddie brought Gregorico, the drummer, in because they grew up together, they went to school together, and Cynthia came in with Larry Graham. Mm. So we had the original band was only 6 pieces for the first year. And then after on our second album, which was Dance to the Music, Sly brought in his other sister Rose. And so there you have it. They have 7 pieces, and the songs that he wrote were they were really unbelievable. Our first album was much more diverse. It doesn't have the obvious pop sound that it did in 1968, because our first attempt at a whole new thing, that was the first album. It had a lot of different styles and drum beats and different lead singers on it. And it didn't make a national hit. It made a regional hit in certain cities. So then Sly decided to make it a more universal. So our first hit was Dance to Music, which was still being played. It's being played on movies and soundtracks and Shrek and just all these different things, and it had more of a worldwide appeal. But then we just took off from there.
Now, I know that you guys also work with the legendary Clive Davis, and he is a man that truly knows music. What was it like working with him in the beginning?
It was really great. Well, actually, David Kaplovic was our manager, and he was on the CBS staff of vice president, and Dave just raved about it. So he jumped up on Clive's desk and was playing the tambourine with the songs and blasting, and Clive got really interested in the band, and him and Sly have been friends for all these years. And also, Al DiMarino from New York City was our first agent, and at William Morris, and he rose up to the top of William Morris, and then went on to become vice president at CBS for 10 years, all the way up until Sony took over CBS, and has remained a close friend to all of us, and until now too. Clive Davis was an amazing person. He had a lot of insight. Over the years, as you know, he has picked and backed so many of the world's best singers, including Whitney Houston, and a lot of the winners of American Idol. You know, he had taken under Carrie Underwood being one of them.
Yeah, Carrie Underwood, she's doing some really big things right now. I mean, her career has definitely taken off. Now, Jerry, your group was very diverse in the 1960s. Did the group ever experience racial tension, especially traveling to different states during the 1960s?
Oh, there was a lot of racial tension during that time. What I like about our band, I believe one of the first, I can't say we were the first because I don't know for sure, but we would have audiences that during that time were all nationalities, and they would be Caucasian and African American all at the same concert, and they weren't fighting. Everybody was just holding the peace sign up and just having a great time. There was a few years there where it was really wonderful at our concerts. In different parts of the United States, there was still a lot of trouble with. Sometimes we would try to take shortcuts going across the country, and we got off the main highways and took some of the back roads, and that was a mistake. That was a mistake. We went through a few towns in the South that weren't exactly. They weren't really friendly to the idea that we had a black and white in the same band. And we got some pretty negative response just driving across the countryside back in those days. This is before roadies and the semis, and this is when we had a truck with equipment, truck that Sly and I drove, and they had a big giant station wagon that Sly's dad, who everybody called Big Daddy. He drove with the rest of the band, and we was on the road the old-fashioned way. It was quite an experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Because it was a major part of all of our lives.
Now, I know you all have songs that were birthed out of a lot of your personal experiences. Can you kind of tell us about the song Everyday People? What was that song birthed out of?
That song was just another one of Sly's great ideas. If you listen to it, it had almost kind of a nursery rhyme theme. But it talked about, if you really listen to the words, it just talked about, black and white, and there's always there's a big person taking on a little person. Are you familiar with the lyrics of it, of Everyday People?
I'm familiar with the lyrics.
Yeah, well, it just covers a lot of ground, and it's still being played all the time, and it's being used in movies and everything, and the basic thing is we all are all just everyday people, There is a black one that doesn't like the white one. There is a tall one and a fat one that doesn't like the skinny one. And it's about different strokes to different folks. We're all different, and we are all the same. All of us are just everyday people. So the people that are haters, just get used to it. If you haven't by now, back in during these times, there was a lot of people that were what nowadays they were haters, and he just was a very visionary person. The song "Stand" was like kind of like a national theme song for all the colleges during that time. When we did "Stand," the young people would stand up and they would light matches or whatever. This was before Bix and before cell phones. And Stan has been used in several other movies also. Just all of his lyrics was just very visionary. It wasn't. People had a tendency to stereotype a black artist and black lyricist. And Sly really broke through on that, because if you listen to the lyrics, and especially a lot of the songs that weren't even like top 10 hits, they were on the albums. He didn't really have any what you call album cuts, where it's like Hamburger Helper. They just throw songs on there to go along with the hit song. All of Sly's songs had a meaning to them, and even though not all of them were hits, although he had a lot of them, they all had something to say. The way he arranged the music, we only had two horns in Sly and the Family Stone, but he arranged it and used either the organ or the guitar to fill up that third note, and a lot of people didn't know it. Now, this is before we even did like overdubs and stuff. But later on, we could take two horns and make it sound like six. But in the beginning, everybody couldn't believe that we just had two horns in the band because it was a full section sound.
Speaking of your lyrics, Jerry, he had one very controversial song, "Don't Call Me Nigga Whitey," and that song. Okay, that song was real.
He had a lot of guts on to do that one. We didn't do it a whole lot at the live concerts. It's all depending on where we play, because it was like in a lot of concerts it was like taking your fingernails and bring it down on the blackboard. People would listen to it and they loved it, but to play it at a live concert, especially if it was a mixed concert, you were going to have a little bit of tension. So we played it, but we didn't play it everywhere, and we didn't play it all the time.
I was going to say one thing that I noticed about Sly and the Family Stone. It seems like family value. It appears to be kind of like the root, because one of the songs, "Family Affair," was very popular. So was family kind of like the root of what you guys were trying to develop in your group as well, the family feel?
Absolutely. Our band is the band that we have right now. We have three original members. We have Greg Rico, the youngest original member of the band. He was 17 when the band started. And have myself. I was the oldest at 24 way back then. And then Cynthia Robinson, who is just an icon in the business. And her and I live about 20 minutes from each other, and we've been playing together for 46 years. And Cynthia Robinson was the first African-American pop trumpet player. Mm-hmm. Also the first girl trumpet player to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She holds so many. She was the first of things, and she's just a wonderful person. And we're both getting up there in years a little bit, but she's younger than me. But sometimes we'll kind of be hurting walking up to, they're getting off the airplane and stuff after the long ride. And when Cynthia gets on stage, all that pain and all that stuff, it goes out the door. She acts like she's 19 years old on stage, and she has a charisma that just blows my mind. And just everybody. And Alex, the people that are not original members, like my band leader, whose name is Blaze Hassan. I've known him for 25 years. I lived in Hawaii for 20 years, from 1980 to 2000, and I worked with him a lot. I had a couple of this Sly bands, over there in Hawaii that we used to play for the festivals, and Blaze was always the musical director for everything I did, and he still is now. He's been with me for 25 years, and he's a great bass player, organizer. Most of the band lives in Vegas, and we have all the rehearsals there. Cynthia and I already know all the songs, so we don't have to rehearse that much. We rehearse certain things. But Blaze and Alex Davis, who I've known for many years, he looks and sounds so much like Fly that it blows people's mind. And of course, Trina Johnson is a great singer, and she has her own Whitney Houston tribute show in Las Vegas. And but getting back to Alex Davis, when we were playing in our area, Freddie Stone lives in Vallejo, California. That's where Sly's family grew up. We played at the Vallejo Fair, And when Alex walked out, started playing, I talked to Freddie. Freddie said, man, he looks like my brother. You know, he said the hair stood up on his arm when he started singing. Because Alex and all the rest of the members who were not original, they really did their homework. They studied the songs. One thing that we don't do in this band, we don't try to like say, okay, we want to change it and make it our own songs. It's not our own songs.
Right.
These are Sly Stone songs. And what we do to the best of our ability is to keep those songs sounding as much like the record and the energy the same. And the band is a very high energy band, and it stays that way for the entire time we play. We can rest when we get off. You know?
One thing I can say that I respect, Jerry, that you just said, you keep the songs the original. And myself, as a concert goer, I like to still be able to sing along to the old songs I grew up to. I don't like when people start changing the arrangements because I can't sing along with you. And it takes away, for me, that feeling when I first heard the song and those memories, it becomes a different song. So I appreciate you keeping the song to its true originality when you created the song so we can all sing along and know what part you're going to come in and where the song doesn't change. Thank you for that.
I agree with that totally because I played in a couple versions of this. I don't want to mention any names or anything because I'm not from that, but there have been a couple other versions of what we're doing with being led by other people. And that's the first thing they said was, well, we're going to make this our own now, you know, and we're going to change this. So right in the middle of thank you for letting myself get a big break and a big old bass solo and stuff was totally upset the flow of the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And it really made me mad, you know, so I didn't stay in that very long. So anyway, that's getting back to that. We're not going to do it better than Sly. We're not going to. He already wrote it, and he has such great songs and lyrics and concepts that it's not about changing it. Just do it. Keep the torch going. Keep the flame going for these wonderful songs that he wrote, and he's doing very well in Los Angeles right now. I check up on him. So as I'm speaking right now, he's probably writing more songs in the studio in Los Angeles.
Now, do you think you'll ever come back and do a tour, do a couple of shows with you all?
I sure would like him to come out with us. Cynthia and I went with him a few years back and played it at the Tokyo Jazz Festival, and he did pretty good. He was just getting back on his feet. He had been out for a while. His health was failing a little bit. But he did a good job. But that was with another band. It wasn't the same band. And these are the people that actually wanted to change it and make it theirs. Mm-hmm. You know, they wanted to bring it into 2008. I think it was 2008. This is only a few shows that we went out on, and you're not going to change it. And that's why that particular version did not last very long. Mm. I've had this band together for 10 years now almost. It's going to continue until we quit.
I was going to say, if people wanted to find out where your shows were, how can they find out where your shows are? You have a website?
All they have to do is go on our calendar. Absolutely. It's www.thefamilystonemusic.com. It has to be exactly that because other people that are using the fact there's the Family Stone TV show they had, and that other people trying to be the Family Stone, and so that may come up on Google, but the correct one is the one that we have with one of the only older bands, and it's 3 original Rock and Roll Hall of Fame members. I'm going to say it again, www.thefamilystonemusic.com.
TheFamilyStoneMusic.com. Well, Jerry, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And we want to remind everyone to watch TV One on Monday, June 25th, for the premiere of the new season of Unsung, the story of Sly and the Family Stone. We were just talking with saxophonist Jerry Martini, one of the original members of Sly and the Family Stone. Thank you so much, Jerry, for joining me on the show. Great interview.
Thank you.
You are so welcome.